The issue is, remember in 2006, they said an army of black Muslims was going to attack and, quote, make war against the U.S. and overthrow and attack the Capitol, the Pentagon, the White House? Turned out it was literally mentally retarded or close to mentally retarded, some of them. 21 down to 14 black Rastafarian-type Christians. And the feds told them, gave them hundreds of thousands of dollars, bought them a warehouse, rented a warehouse, gave them uniforms, told them, I'll give you 10,000 more this week, 40,000 more next week, if you'll go videotape the Miami Federal Building. I mean, it's just made up. And that's probably what happened in Stockholm. We're going to cover it when we come back and then get into the other news. I'm going to open the phones up right now, 800-259-9231 on any of these issues I've mentioned or anything you want to talk about, 800-259-9231. First-time callers. I want to hear from first-time callers, at least during this hour. We'll be right back. Charlotte Iserby coming up live, and Robert Groden, top JFK expert. Well, gold and silver are blasting back up today, and here's the Bloomberg headline. Gold may beat silver, lifting ratio by as much as 20%, technical analysts believe. More and more, the fiat currencies are being devalued, and it is accelerating the awakening of the world population to the fact that gold and silver are king in a hyperinflation type situation. Okay, let's go ahead and get back into the report that I was just covering. Swedish military had prior knowledge of suicide blast. This is Paul Joseph Watson's article, but he has links to some of the major mainstream Swedish newspapers. I will not try to butcher. Okay, I'll do it for entertainment purposes, though this is not a funny issue. Försvarsmakten. I guess that's their military employee. That's not the newspaper. I can't pronounce this other one. The point is, Swedish military had prior knowledge of suicide blast. Armed Forces staffers sent text message warning acquaintances to stay away from shopping street. Same thing happened in Mumbai. Same thing happened in Dubai. Same thing has happened with Oklahoma City on record. That came out in the news at the time of the Oklahoma City bombing, that the ATF was not there that day on the 9th floor and threatened local police and others and emergency workers to bandage up non-existent wounds and to tell people that they were in the rubble. And Cop of the Year refused, so they murdered him, killed him real good, Terrence Yakey. And also some of the other people refused, so they died mysterious deaths. Very nice people at the BATF. Swedish military had prior knowledge of suicide blast, and it goes on here. It says, the Swedish military had prior knowledge of the suicide blast, which hit a busy shopping street in central Stockholm on Saturday, suggesting the attack was allowed to go ahead in order to bolster the flagging global war on terror. Swedish troops, by the way, are in Afghanistan. A Swedish Armed Forces employee warned an acquaintance to stay clear of the area in central Stockholm on Saturday, where several hours later 2 explosions went off in what is being called a terrorist attack, reports the local English-language Swedish newspaper. The TT news agency obtained a copy of the text, which was sent to the military staffer. Wow, they even have it. If you can avoid Drottning Nagatan today, a lot can happen there. So just so you know. By the way, people always say it's a rumor that there were warnings not to be in the towers. The towers were at about half occupancy. But still, they only had about 30% of the regular occupants in there that should have been in there at that time. And I have the Jerusalem Post and the other news articles that reported that the text company, they've since changed their name, did warn their 4,000 employees in the building to get out. And there were other companies that warned people. I mean, that's in the newspaper. And you cannot deny that only about a third of the people that should have been in there, with the tenant ratio they had, and the buildings were only half filled to capacity because they had asbestos and other problems. But the issue was, of the 50% occupancy they had, There was only a third of those that would regularly be there. But side issue. Swedish military had prior knowledge of suicide blast, and here it is. Armed Forces spokesperson Jonas Svensson initially said he was unaware of the message, but would be checking into its origins. Swedish military sources later acknowledged the authenticity of the message and said they were preparing how to deal with the issue. And it goes on. Intelligence advisor Professor Wilhelm Agrell said the Swedish authorities may have known in advance of the suicide bombing, but military spokesman Eric Lagerstein denied any prior knowledge of the statement. We don't know, but a lot of times government just bombs things themselves. A lot of times they'll take somebody who they already don't like or think is guilty. That's kind of how it works. Well, you've been busted a few times for other crimes, so we're just going to frame you for this. Yeah, this guy is already a criminal. Let's just say he raped the girl and plant evidence. And it comes out over and over again worldwide that police forces do this. Every major crime lab in the U.S., from San Francisco to Houston to Dallas to the FBI crime lab, on record, just total fraud. They want somebody framed, they frame them. And by the way, they'll take your blood and then go plant it. And they don't care. So you can't trust the government. It's out of control. But and look, I don't even dislike police. Most beat cops are out there actually helping people. I haven't seen cops changing tires and helping old ladies. There's a lot of good people. It's just a job. They want to help people. But the higher-ups, the higher you go in any government agency, especially law enforcement or security, look at Russia. It's run by its security services more and more today. I mean, every country is. It's pathetic. Let's stop denying it and get back to the bedrock of the republic where we know what tyranny is and we stand up against it. Not that we sell tyranny as security. Now, it just goes on from there. Police probe Stockholm blast as act of terrorism. No kidding. But, you know, they take him, they drug him. That's one of the CIA's favorite ways to kill somebody. They take you, they drug you, and they stick you in a car, and then they have a bread truck run into you a couple times. Or they drug you and put you in the street and then run over you. Or they drug you and put you on a motorcycle and then run over you. And that's one of their favorite ways to do it. But that's how they killed Princess Diana. Had the crash and then waited 45 minutes to give her any aid. And she told everybody, Charles told me he's going to kill me. But, oh, that's not evidence. You know, we have videotapes and audio of her saying it. And she was pregnant, and they couldn't allow that. But I'm done talking about that for now. It's always the same M.O., just as Geraldo Rivera said. By the way, Jaron, we have Geraldo Rivera's producer's number because I've been on his show twice. I want to get Geraldo Rivera on. I mean, if he's got the huevos, which he obviously does, to come out and start questioning 9/11, let's get him on. I mean, I just can't. I mean, what does that mean that Judge Napolitano has come on the air and said the official story of 9/11 is impossible? Geraldo's starting to come out. Glenn Beck is saying the government's going to stage in Oklahoma City to blame it on conservatives, which the liberals, so-called liberals, basically admit publicly they're getting ready to do. That's how arrogant they are. We have to talk about this. Look, Bush is a puppet. Obama's a puppet. It's these globalist forces that are doing this. I mean, even the New York Times yesterday came out and said secretive, shadowy banking group runs all the derivatives and the stock market is rigged, but they went on to say it's a good thing. You think I'm kidding? I've got it here in the stack. Hold on. Here it is. Document cam shot for PrisonPlanet.tv viewers. A secretive banking elite rules trading in derivatives. There's the headline. I'll go back into that later. All right, I want to go to your phone calls. I've got new WikiLeaks info and a bunch of other news and a bunch on the economy. But let's go to Rick in Arizona. Rick, thanks for holding. You're on the air worldwide.
Hi, Alex. Hey, listen, I don't get to hear your show live often, so I wanted to go back to something from your Friday and Sunday show about the Walmart and the DHS deal.
Sure.
I got a story for you Saturday. I was in Target because I stopped going into Walmart. Well, and I realized when I was in there what you were talking about, Target was going to be involved in all this also. And yes. You cannot believe what happened. I was in there with my girlfriend, and we bought a bottle of $6 wine, and I was carded. Okay? I'm in my 50s. She says, I need your driver's license so I can scan it. I said, no, ma'am, you're not going to scan my driver's license, and she refused to sell it.
Oh, no, they're already putting in vending machines where you've got a breathalyzer, thumbprint, digital scan, swipe your card, and soon, this is admitted, the big retailing giants have been having meetings going back more than 15 years that I've read, where all the grocery stores, all the malls will be kiosk where where a vending machine basically gives you the products and all that will be, but listen, this has been in the Minneapolis news. In fact, it was in the news last week. In fact, guys, it was a Examiner article. I forget the headline. In fact, you guys found it. It was something like Target involved in Homeland Security. But the issue is Target has a development company that's designed most of a lot of the face scanning cameras, the surveillance that's in stores everywhere, not just Target. They donate money nationwide to put face scanning cameras up on street corners. That's actually in the news. And you notice a lot of Targets have a card reader that actually takes your card away from you. And notice when you're at the airport, they put you in the glass box like you're in a European trial or a trial in the Middle East where you're in the cage. It's all about teaching you psychologically that you're bad, the state is good, so they can treat you like a criminal because they are the criminals. So, yeah, absolutely, I have seen them card, I'm not exaggerating, old people on walkers buying pipe tobacco. And they admit they're getting you ready for a national sales tax where you must swipe to buy and sell anything, because it's going to be a graduated sales tax. Some will be exempt. And this is the pure tracking control grid. They've got a system IDing all electronic devices. They now have smart systems where they have data through the power that goes into your house, and all the major new appliances coming out have chips that interface. Then they surveil you through your refrigerator, through your washer, your dryer. I mean, you cannot make this up. But I'm sorry for interrupting. Finish your story.
Oh, that's fine. Well, I also did see a police officer. I was so caught off guard at the moment, I listen to you all the time, and when I go through this, I talk to people about it. And
did you not buy the wine?
Oh no, yeah, I'll tell you what happened. After that happened, I see a police officer walking through, and I did not think to look to see if it was a TSA guy like one of the callers yesterday was talking about.
Oh yeah, they're now in the stores. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway. I looked at the screen, and it says scan driver's license or punch in birth date. I said, well, you'll have to punch my birth date in. You're not scanning my card. And she said, well, I'll have to call a manager. I said, well, you'll call a manager then.
By the way, it's admitted Target's biggest business, along with Walmart, is selling your data to the government. And that was in Wired Magazine just 3 weeks ago. So that's why they want the loyalty cards, the credit cards, their whole business. In fact, again, 8 years ago, guys, print the article or show it on screen. USA Today, scofflaws caught while ordering pizzas. The big three pizza companies, when you give them your credit card and name, they run your location through a database of wanted people. And instead of getting a pizza, you get a SWAT team raid. So again, guilty until proven innocent, and they're getting money for that. See, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, so she calls the manager, and while she's standing there, she goes, I told her I wasn't blaming her directly, that she's doing what she's told. And she goes, all I want is to get my paycheck. And I go, you're one of the reasons this country is going the way it is. That's all you care about. You don't care about what's going on around us. Well, the manager comes up, and all he did was ask me what my birth date was. I could have gave him 7/4 or 76, and he wouldn't have known the difference.
Well, notice, though, having TSA not be allowed to use common sense is about robotic control. Police are taught robotic control. They catch little girls with Luden's cough drops that can be sold in the candy section. They have no drugs in them, and they arrest them. And it's about mindless obedience, zero tolerance, where, okay, I've got a World War II vet, and I've seen this happen, with an oxygen tank. the guy can barely walk, or an old lady in a wheelchair who looks like she's about to die, okay, I'm going to go ahead and make them stand up even though their daughter's telling me they can't walk.